St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day, or the Feast of St. Patrick Irish, File Pedre, lit. The Day of the Festival of Patrick, is a cultural and religious celebration held on 17 March, the traditional death date of St. Patrick c. 385 c. 461, the foremost patron saint of Ireland. A cultural and religious celebration on 17 March. For other uses, see St. Patrick's Day disambiguation. St. Patrick's Day was made an official Christian feast day in the early 17th century and is observed by the Catholic Church, the Anglican Communion, especially the Church of Ireland, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Lutheran Church. The day commemorates St. Patrick and the arrival of Christianity in Ireland, and celebrates the heritage and culture of the Irish in general. Celebrations generally involve public parades and festivals, chilid, and the wearing of green attire or shamrocks. Christians who belong to liturgical denominations also attend church services, and historically the Lenten restrictions on eating and drinking alcohol were lifted for the day, which has encouraged and propagated the holiday's tradition of alcohol consumption. St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday in the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador for provincial government employees, and the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat. It is also widely celebrated in the United Kingdom, Canada, United States, Argentina, Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand, especially amongst Irish diaspora. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated in more countries than any other national festival. Modern celebrations have been greatly influenced by those of the Irish diaspora, particularly those that developed in North America. However, there has been criticism of St. Patrick's Day celebrations for having become too commercialist and for fostering negative stereotypes of the Irish people. St. Patrick. Main article: St. Patrick was a 5th Romano-British Christian missionary and bishop in Ireland. Much of what is known about St. Patrick comes from the Declaration, which was allegedly written by Patrick himself. It is believed that he was born in Roman Britain in the 4th century, into a wealthy Romano-British family. His father was a deacon and his grandfather was a priest in the Christian church. According to the Declaration, at the age of 16, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and taken as a slave to Gaelic Ireland. It says that he spent 6 years there working as a shepherd, and that during this time he found God. The Declaration says that God told Patrick to flee to the coast, where a ship would be waiting to take him home. After making his way home, Patrick went on to become a priest. According to tradition, Patrick returned to Ireland to convert the pagan Irish to Christianity. The Declaration says that he spent many years evangelizing in the northern half of Ireland and converted thousands. Patrick's efforts were eventually turned into an allegory in which he drove snakes out of Ireland, despite the fact that snakes were not known to inhabit the region. Tradition holds that he died on 17 March and was buried at Downpatrick. Over the following centuries, many legends grew up around Patrick, and he became Ireland's foremost saint. Celebration and traditions. Traditional St. Patrick's Day badges from the early 20th century, Museum of Country Life in County Mayo. According to legend, St. Patrick used the 3-leaved shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity to Irish pagan studies. St. Patrick's Day celebrations have been greatly influenced by those that developed among the Irish diaspora, especially in North America. Until the late 20th century, St. Patrick's Day was often a bigger celebration among the diaspora than it was in Ireland. The celebrations generally involve public parades and festivals, Irish traditional music sessions, chilid, and the wearing of green attire or shamrocks. There are also formal gatherings such as banquets and dances, although these were more common in the past. St. Patrick's Day parades began in North America in the 18th century but did not spread to Ireland until the 20th century. The participants generally include marching bands, the military, fire brigades, cultural organizations, charitable organizations, voluntary associations, youth groups, fraternities, and so on. However, over time, many of the parades have become more akin to a carnival. More effort is made to use the Irish language, especially in Ireland, where one march to St. Patrick's Day on 17 March. See Chain na Gaelge Irish Language Week. Since 2010, Famous landmarks have been lit up in green on St. Patrick's Day as part of Tourism Ireland's global greening initiative or Going Green for St. Patrick's Day. The Sydney Opera House and the Sky Tower in Auckland were the first landmarks to participate, and since then over 300 landmarks in 50 countries across the globe have gone green for St. Patrick's Day. Christians may also attend church services, and the Lenten restrictions on eating and drinking alcohol are lifted for the day. Perhaps because of this, drinking alcohol, particularly Irish whiskey, beer, or cider, has become an integral part of the celebrations. The St. Patrick's Day custom of drowning the shamrock or wetting the shamrock was historically popular. At the end of the celebrations, especially in Ireland, a shamrock is put into the bottom of a cup, which is then filled with whiskey, beer, or cider. It is then drunk as a toast to St. Patrick, Ireland, or those present. The shamrock would either be swallowed with the drink or taken out and tossed over the shoulder for good luck. Irish government ministers travel abroad on official visits to various countries around St. Patrick's Day to promote Ireland. A St. Patrick's Day greeting card from on St. Patrick's Day. It is customary to wear shamrocks, green clothing, or green accessories. St. Patrick is said to have used the shamrock, a three-leaved plant, to explain the Holy Trinity to the pagan Irish. This story first appears in writing in 1726, though it may be older. In pagan Ireland, 3 was a significant number, and the Irish had many triple deities, which may have aided St. Patrick in his evangelization efforts. Roger Holman writes, "We can perhaps see St. Patrick drawing upon the visual concept of the triskel when he uses the shamrock to explain the Trinity." Patricia Monaghan says there is no evidence the shamrock was sacred to the pagan Irish. Jack Santino speculates that it may have represented the regenerative powers of nature and was recast in a Christian context. Icons of St. Patrick often depict the saint with a cross in one hand and a sprig of shamrocks in the other. The first association of the color green with Ireland is from a legend in the 11th century Leabhar Gablaren, the Book of the Taking of Ireland. It tells of Godal Glass, Godal a Green, the eponymous ancestor of the Gaels and creator of the Goidelic languages Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, Manx. Godal is bitten by a venomous snake but saved from death by Moses placing his staff on the snake bite, leaving him with a green mark. His descendants settle in Ireland, a land free of snakes. One of the first, visits Ireland after climbing the Tower of Hercules and being captivated by the sight of a beautiful green island in the distance. Color green was further associated with Ireland from the Ers, when the Green Heart flag was used by the Irish Catholic Confederation. Later, James Connolly described this flag as representing the sacred emblem of Ireland's unconquered soul. Green ribbons and shamrocks have been worn on St. Patrick's Day since at least the Ers. Since then, the color green and its association with St. Patrick's Day have grown. The Friendly Brothers of St. Patrick, an Irish fraternity founded in about 1750, adopted green as its color. The Order of St. Patrick, an Anglo-Irish chivalric order founded in 1783, instead adopted blue as its color, which led to blue being associated with St. Patrick. In the Ers, the color green was adopted by the United Irishmen. This was a Republican organization founded mostly by Protestants, but with many Catholic members, who launched a rebellion in 1798 against British rule. Ireland was first called the Emerald Isle when Erin first rose, 1795, a poem by a co-founder of the United Irishmen, William Drennan, which stresses the historical importance of green to the Irish. The phrase "wearing of the green" comes from a song of the same name about United Irishmen being persecuted for wearing green. The flags of the 1916 Easter Rising featured green, such as the Sorry Plough banner and the proclamation flag of the Irish Republic. When the Irish Free State was founded in 1922, the government ordered all post boxes be painted green, with the slogan "Green Paint for a Green People." In 1924, the government introduced a green Irish passport. Wearing of the St. Patrick's Day cross was also a popular custom in Ireland until the early 20th century. These were a Celtic Christian cross made of paper that was covered with silk or ribbon of different colors, and a bunch or rosette of green silk in the center. Criticism. St. Patrick's Day celebrations have been criticized, particularly for their association with public drunkenness and disorderly conduct. Some argue that the festivities have become too commercialist and tacky, and have strayed from their original purpose of honoring St. Patrick and Irish heritage. Irish-American journalist Niall O'Dowd has criticized attempts to recast St. Patrick's Day as a celebration of multiculturalism rather than a celebration of Irishness. Men in a leprechaun outfit on St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day celebrations have also been criticized for fostering demeaning stereotypes of Ireland and Irish people. An example is the wearing of leprechaun outfits, which are based on derogatory 19th-century caricatures of the Irish. In the run-up to St. Patrick's Day 2014, the Ancient Order of Hibernians successfully campaigned to stop major American retailers from selling novelty merchandise that promoted negative Irish stereotypes. Some have described St. Patrick's Day celebrations outside Ireland as displays of plastic paradise, where foreigners appropriate and misrepresent Irish culture, claim Irish identity, and enact Irish stereotypes. Groups in the U.S. were long banned from marching in St. Patrick's Day parades in New York City and Boston, resulting in the landmark Supreme Court decision of Hurley v. Irish American Gay, Lesbian, and Bisexual Group of Boston. In New York City, the ban was lifted in 2014, but LGBT groups still find that barriers to participation exist. In Boston, the ban on LGBT group participation was lifted in 2015. Sports events. Traditionally, the All-Ireland Senior Club Football Championship and All-Ireland Senior Club Hurling Championship were held on St. Patrick's Day in Croke Park, Dublin, but since 2020 these now take place in January. The Interprovincial Championship was previously held on 17 March, but this was switched to games being played in autumn. Of Leinster Schools Rugby Senior Cup, Munster Schools Rugby Senior Cup and Ulster Schools Senior Cup are held on St. Patrick's Day. The Connacht Schools Rugby Senior Cup is held on the weekend before St. Patrick's Day. Horse racing at the Cheltenham Festival attracts large numbers of Irish people, both residents of Britain and many who travel from Ireland, and usually coincides with St. Patrick's Day. Six Nations Championship is an annual international rugby union tournament competed by England, France, Ireland, Italy, Scotland, and Wales, and reaches its climax on or around St. Patrick's Day. On St. Patrick's Day 2018, Ireland defeated England at Twickenham, London to claim the third Grand Slam in their history. St. Patrick's Day Test is an international rugby league tournament that is played between the US and Ireland. The competition was first started in 1995 and continued in 1996, 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2011, and 2012. Ireland won the first two tests as well as the one in 2011, with the US winning the remaining 5. The game is usually held on or around 17 March to coincide with St. Patrick's Day. Major professional sports leagues of the United States and Canada that play during March often wear special third jerseys to acknowledge the holiday. Examples include the Buffalo Sabres, who have worn special Irish-themed practice jerseys, Toronto Maple Leafs, who wear Toronto St. Patrick's throwbacks, New York Knicks, Toronto Raptors, and most Major League Baseball teams. The New Jersey Devils have worn their green and red throwback jerseys on or around St. Patrick's Day in recent years.